I have your attention, please. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
And now, coming live from the Midwest Racks and Rods studio, it's the Outdoor Show with your host. Somebody check that man for circuits, cause he might be a robot, Scott Biscobing. And I'm just a hometown kid doing hometown things, Drew Biscobing, with our producer, Luke PBRM ASAP Ortman.
Yeah, welcome back.
Thirsty Thursday.
Indeed.
Do a little wrap around. Wrap around action. Drinking to that.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Midwest Racks and Rods Outdoor Show, as you just heard. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of this episode, the giveaway night.
The giveaway night. Giveaway. Come on. Where's my air horn on that? Thank you.
How about a word from our partners?
Absolutely. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Tagged and Bagged. They specialize in pre-taxidermy packaging for waterfowl. Their mission is to provide hunters with the highest quality packaging products to ensure preservation of a hunter's prized trophy. Tagged and Bagged products are made with the best materials and are designed to withstand the toughest hunting conditions. Go to taggedandbagged.net, folks. That's right, taggedandbagged.net. And of course, Bucket Ready offers premium food plot seed for the best results when attracting wildlife to your property. Knowing what deer prefer, when they prefer it, and putting the best seed together for deer in your special hunting spot is what Bucket Ready Seed Performance Food Plot... Bucket Ready Performance Food Plot Seed Mixtures is all about. BucketReady.com. It's hard to do this live, folks. BucketReady.com.
Words is hard.
Get on it.
Words are hard. They are terribly hard sometimes. I smell burnt toast. But anyhow, welcome back, everybody.
You might have a problem.
Sorry about a little bit before. We had another slight delay and a little technical difficulty, but...
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, so Microsoft, you know, you got these updates all the time. You would think when you boot up the computer, it would just ask you if you want to do the update right away. And I knew it like earlier too. It like came across my mind, like, I should shut down, do an update and that. Because it seems like that's almost always the case. I'm hoping we have sound right now.
But if we don't, screw you, Bill Gates. Anyhow.
Yeah, we'll just mime this whole thing here.
See, as a robot. Anyhow.
I've got the closed captioning on.
Okay,
so
all
I'm
right.
watching back, so it's picking up something.
And we got the screw you, Bill Gates in there.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right.
Excellent. Very good. All right, guys. Yeah, it is giveaway night. It's the Buckstik giveaway. We apologize. We wanted to do that show last week, and then just things come up. It's been, man, I'll tell you what, there was all the memes of 2020 being a dumpster fire. I think for us, 2024 has been a dumpster fire for sure.
It has been a dumpster fire on the Titanic, if you will.
Yeah.
It has been awful.
It has been, yeah, it's been a year, it's been a week, it's been a month, but yeah, overall it's been a year for sure.
But we're here, and we appreciate you all being here.
Yeah, and we're also getting to be that time. It's getting to be that time of year.
For what? What's going on? Something? Yeah, footy football?
Luke over there, he's like, it's football. Like, well, that's why he's the producer. He's on the other side of the camera. On this side of the camera, we're getting fired up for hunting season.
A little bit of hunting.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna go. We're hunting now, boys and gals.
We're getting close, really, really close.
That's right.
Now. What are we? Today is the 29th of August.
29th of August.
I know, is it like 2-3 weeks away, something like that. It's coming up really quick.
August
here in
29th.
Wisconsin. No. Oh, today is August 29th. I thought you said meant the season starting.
Christopher Columbus.
That's for whitetails here in Wisconsin. Some of the other neighboring states, like down in Illinois, that starts October 1st.
Doesn't that seem weird?
It does.
I mean, that is so...
Well, to be honest with you, you bring up a good point there. When I think of years gone by, I used to get really, really amped up for the start of the Wisconsin season. Mid-September. I'm not nearly as fired up about it anymore.
No, not just this year, because
not just this year, the last couple of years. There's times where I end up not going the first week based on temperature, mosquitoes, things like that. I mean, it can be absolutely miserable. The years that I've probably been most excited about getting out there for opening weekend are those seasons where I'm patterning a particular buck, where he's still in that summer routine, that pattern, and you think you might be able to get it done. But for me, honestly, hunting late October, early November, and then even late season is where it's at. I hate the heat.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
and the humidity and the mosquitoes. And
mosquitoes are the state bird, right? Everybody says that.
Right.
Yeah, no, I mean, that has to make it, hard to be excited year after year when you're dealing with tough conditions like that. And you're trying to conceal, as much as your scent as possible. And, well, that can be a little bit hard to do when it's 90 degrees and you're sweating through, whatever layer that you have on. I mean, that's got to make it difficult. In terms of that, do you think that ever played a factor on, for opening? Did the weather really impact you in terms of your scent control as well?
Yeah, I mean, for me, there's been plenty of seasons where like Mike and I will hunt. I don't even remember how many years ago it was, but I remember I had to do something. I had to drop something off at the property on Friday. Actually, I know what it was. I was hanging another set is what I was doing. And I pulled into the property after driving, to the lease, and it's saying 99 degrees.
Oh, God.
Up on the dash there of my truck.
Well, and we just had
earlier
heat indexes in the triple digits. I mean, in some places in the state reaching 115 degrees.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. But anyhow.
Yeah, so I had to hang this set because I didn't want to hunt some of my other spots. I didn't want to dive too deep into the property.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I didn't want to stink it up. I didn't want to just get in there and kind of screw the rest of the season up, or at least the coming weeks. So those years that Mike and I do go up there, unless we have something patterned in that, and we know, like, okay, we can slip into this spot and we might be able to get it done based on what we're seeing with trail camera pictures and things like that. We usually stay to the north end of the property because you're almost always getting a southwest wind this time of year. So we're really kind of taking it, very easy and very cautious. And with that said, you're out there and you're like, why am I even here? I mean, the off chance that this spot, where we're not getting pictures in that, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
We're just out here.
For the sake of being out there.
For the sake of being out there. I know guys are really fired up. I mean, and that's great. If we were to happen to get like a cold front like we almost had right now for opening weekend, something where you get highs in the low 70s or something like that, that's a different story, But again, I don't really want to push the envelope on these bucks this time of year unless you got that pattern down. So for me, it's closer to October.
Yeah. So speaking on the pattern, right, and how deers have patterns, we all know that. For you, when do you notice, or when are you seeing different patterns start to occur?
Well, it's that summer pattern with the bachelor groups of bucks. Mm-hmm. So when they start breaking off, and I see that all of August with certain bucks, where you get the younger bucks usually in bachelor groups.
Right.
But anything beyond a 3-year-old, 3.5-year-old, typically I see them far more solo in August already. I just don't see them showing up on camera anyways. That's not to say that they're not, social with the rest of the bachelors, but they seem to be a little bit kind of doing their own thing. Whereas all of a sudden I'll get a picture and it'll be $4 or $5, ranging from 1.5 to 3.5 years old, coming into a buckstick or coming into a water hole, out in the field edges in the evening. And I think in the field you'll see a lot more of the bucks kind of congregating together. But it's like those spots, those deeper spots, closer to different bedding areas and things like that, that I'll notice it's just one lone buck, and he's over 3 years old more often than not. If that's the thing, is if those particular bucks seem to be a little bit harder to pattern, they don't seem to stay in those summer patterns as long. Maybe in July or even in early August, but once you get towards the end of August, they're kind of breaking up a little bit. Yeah. The younger ones still tend to congregate together. I mean, even for me, like right now, it's only been, I'll check my cameras, my cell cam pics a couple times a week, most of the summer. I don't go nuts with it where I wake up and I got to look at it every single morning first thing. Now I am finding myself, rolling over in bed and that, shutting off the alarm. Then I grab, and then I'm like, well, as I'm waking up here, I'm just going to scroll through and see what was what last night or the day before. And it gets a little more exciting. Mike and I spoke on the phone the other day, Mike Thalen, and you can tell it's starting to amp up for him too. Yeah. He's been sending me pictures. I've been sending pictures. He's got his cameras on one side of the property. I got mine predominantly on the other. So now we're comparing to see, if we have the same bucks or different bucks or.
I'm curious to know where he ended up placing that other camera, that last camera that, as we were going out.
The one we changed the batteries in earlier this summer. Yeah, I don't even know exactly where he. I know he told me, but I don't recall now
curious
where
to know where he put it and what he's seeing. So, Mike, if you're watching, I know you are. I need to know where that camera is, what you got on it. But
I was actually hoping to get him in the studio here tonight. It just it didn't work.
Yeah, we got to have Mike on again here soon.
Yeah, we were hoping to have Jason on too, but circumstances. It's summertime, man. Isn't it just crazy? Like the amount of stuff. When you live in the northern part of the country here in the upper Midwest, the amount of crap that we try to cram into a 3-month period of time.
4 months maybe.
Yeah. It's just insane. It's weddings, it's birthday parties, it's graduation parties, it's camping trips, it's trips with your family, it's trips to the lake, fishing trips.
Sometimes it could just be a night out together. Get some friends together and you sit around a fire just because you want to be out and enjoying the weather.
Right.
Yeah, how many of those did we have this year? One?
Only a couple. It's just been so busy.
It's been awful.
We were in the North Woods of northern Wisconsin last weekend, the wife and I, for a wedding, which was a lot of fun. We had a blast. But it was one of those things where you're like, oh, I don't want to do anything anymore. I just want to focus on hunting and some football.
Did you wear some camo?
I didn't. Yeah. I didn't. It was way too humid and hot. Like, it was bad enough having to wear pants because it was an outdoor wedding and they had an outdoor reception.
It was hot.
It wasn't actually too bad up there, but it was definitely warm. The humidity, and then you have a DJ under a tent and everybody's dancing. And you're out there dancing, and even though if you were just standing there chilling, leaning up against a tree with a beer, you were fine.
Then it
But the
was fine.
second you started cutting the rug or cutting the lawn, in this case,
Or feeding the chickens, as it were.
making the pizza.
That's right.
Working the dough.
It's getting greasy.
Yeah, it started to get a little greasy for sure.
So one thing, and we've been hunting. Oh, geez, it's been what, 32 years? 32 years, I want to say that we've been hunting together.
Since you and I have.
Since you and I have, yes. Yeah. And something that I don't think we ever really talked about or dove into is our rituals, right? What kind of rituals do you follow when you're preparing for your first weekend of hunting? Like, when do you start going through your gear?
I actually already started to a little bit. And it's kind of a twofold. So we're totally remodeling our basement, as you know, but we've done a complete remodel. We had a finished basement to begin with, and we decided just to gut the whole thing and start over, basically.
Yeah.
And in the process, all right, so I have a hunting, like a walk-in closet down there. It's a cedar closet, walk-in. It's full of ammo and the safes and all the gear and things like that.
What?
I
ammo.
have a box of BB pellets.
Right, because the rest of it fell off the boat when it capsized.
Yeah,
last year.
Yeah, Jesse Bricko had it on his boat, and
exactly
it happened to tip off the side. So it's somewhere in Lake Michigan.
Yeah, it's no good.
So now that we got that clear, but anyways, I'm like, it's a mess in here.
Yeah.
All the way going back to like turkey season and things like that. Like, I really got to get in here and clean this up and reorganize things.
Right.
So it's at that point where it was like, all right, well, start going through a few things and checking some stuff out. So that was about a week or so ago that I started doing it. But it's usually around this time that it's like, it's probably already a little late for certain things.
So I guess twofold here. Well, I'll just ask this one and we'll see where it goes. Do you find yourself, when you get to that point and you start going through the gear, how much new gear are you buying? I don't think Sarah's watching. It's okay to be fully transparent here.
I don't know about gear. Like, are you talking about like new camo?
Well, it could be
that,
anything from camo to, maybe you want some new optics or, I guess anything, however you want to take it.
I don't know. This year, probably not that much. I'm pretty solid on most things.
Yeah.
I've got, my Vortex binoculars are only like 2 years old. The guns are all set. Archery equipment is pretty much good to go. Set on broadheads.
Because just speaking for myself, there's something every year.
Yeah, I mean, there is. I mean, just before the show, you just ordered another tree stand to have shipped over to my house.
Right.
Because we got to get that up yet.
Well, there's just, I mean.
Yeah, and there's been years where it's like, you're really bulking up on new things or whatever. But
I think
I've kind of simplified. I've kind of dialed back
good for you,
the gadgets and the hocus pocus stuff. You know what I mean?
Like that. Yeah, right. Especially when we have, and I know this is why you guys are all here, right? For the Buckstik. Mm-hmm. When we have such a tried and true tested method, the communication device that the Buckstik is. I mean, that's really enabled us to mitigate everything else and sort of minimize what we are putting out there. Mm-hmm. So that's been nice, for sure.
Yeah, I think I've really dialed things back a little bit. Just even in terms of how much gear and stuff I take out in the woods with me. I look at, it was just like you just take everything in that, and then it got to the point where it just was like, all right, I got to really assess how much stuff I'm taking out. Have I ever used this?
Right.
Yeah. Have I ever used that? I mean, there's certain things that are a good idea just to have as a precaution, maybe some gauze and some Band-Aids, certain things like that.
Tourniquet would be a really good thing to have.
Right. Well, yeah, everybody's got a belt, so
True.
you would think. True. Maybe some Tums, some ibuprofen, a pack of Advil.
I was thinking
or
more of
something
like
that.
Imodium. But
Yeah, or that too.
I mean, that's something I'm
Pepto.
always worried about.
Yeah, you gotta. You never know.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, as far as I would have 4 or 5 knives and
Right.
bone saws and just so much stuff, and I'm like,
And yet here I have my hunting knife. I mean, I actually bought it from our producer's dad. So that tells you how long ago that was. And I tell you, I have yet to take a sharpening block to this thing, and it still is. What did I pay? $20 for it, if that.
sure.
It looks, no offense, it looks awful. It looks like the cheapest
Oh,
thing.
I know.
That
what
blue
you're
one.
talking- Yeah.
Yeah. So there, I gave it away. It's blue. It's not wood grain. It's not anything nice.
Heck, I mean, I use the Outdoor Edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, Luke,
Oh,
Would you guys like a smaller, pocket knife type of thing in the future? Would that be nice?
I mean, you got to have.
With your initials on it or something?
Oh, I know. I think I know where you're going with this.
yes,
Yeah,
indeed, you do.
absolutely.
Like
yes.
a wood grain handle type of thing?
That would be really
Sure.
cool.
I'd actually like a switchblade or something, or some sort of.
Or like a Rambo,
We're not taking requests.
like a Boeing knife. Yeah.
No requests. Knives in general.
Something like that. Maybe a cribbage board. I actually have a card from a guy I met at the fair the other day.
Do we have any questions or comments or anything there, Luke? Since you're on,
We got a tick report from Bob Zarda.
Hey,
Oh, yeah?
Bob.
He says, fairly bad in Waupaca County.
nicely pronounced, by the way. Yeah, I think they're pretty bad all over. Mosquitoes, ticks.
Oh,
That's actually a good topic. What are you using? What are you guys using out there to keep yourselves protected from the ticks and mosquitoes? I mean, as far as mosquitoes go, for me anyways, early season, I like to take a thermocell out.
yeah. Absolutely.
They don't do you much good while you're walking to your stand.
Right.
But you get that thing going before you get to your stand. That way it's already kind of smoking
Cooking
away.
Yep.
That's very helpful. I know they make the earth scent ones. I'm not a big fan because I'm like, there is a smell to it.
Right.
And then you go with the earth one, yeah, it does smell like dirt to us, but what does it smell like to a deer?
Right.
So, but at the same time, you can't be in the stand. I mean, what are you going to spray yourself with Deep Woods Off?
That
And just be
also
reeking
has a scent.
Oh,
obviously.
a massive scent to it. I know a lot of guys use permethrin in that. I use that on my turkey gear.
Yep. Every year I
Spray it down, a day or two ahead of time, hang it on the line, let it dry. I want to get it on the outside. Do my boots,
I haven't had a tick on me turkey hunting
Right.
because of it.
But that stuff is, I don't know. That stuff worries me a little bit.
Yeah. I mean,
It says
Warning
do not get
labels.
on your skin. Don't spray the inside of your clothes.
right.
Stay upwind.
I've resigned to the fact that I'm going to die in the next 10 years, 20 years anyhow. So whatever. I mean, I was rubbing it on my face. I hate ticks.
You and Mike
That's not
both.
true.
I mean, nobody really
But I know
likes
what they
ticks, but man, Mike is nuts about those things. He was using that stuff before I was, and it'd be crazy. We'd be sitting there turkey hunting together, and I'd have 30 ticks on me, and then he'd have nothing. And that was it for me. I mean, that was because we were
Proof is in
sitting
the
right
pudding.
next to each other. I'm filming him, or vice versa, and I'm just, they're crawling on me. I'm like, "Have you had any?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "Next year, that's it. I was sold." During deer season, I don't know. I haven't really had too many issues with the ticks. I would say probably mostly because you're getting up in a tree. So it's the walking out. You're not sitting on the ground
Right.
like you are during turkey hunting. So
Yep. Or crawling and everything that we're doing during turkey. Yeah, for sure.
sure. We got anything else there, Luke?
Yeah, we got a tick tip, Jesse Bricko, fresh earth wafers in our clothes bin, and works great. Not winded yet. Ticks were bad in Adam's friendship area as well.
Yeah, I think they're bad all over this year.
I picked one off my head sitting at the hospital. Like,
really?
yeah, it was when, well, we don't need to get into all the details, but it was down at Freighter.
Yeah.
I just happened to rub my head out of stress, and I'm like, what the heck is this?
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I have a picture of it on my phone of I kind of threw it on the hospital floor, freaked out. And Dad's like, what's the matter? I'm like, what's a freaking tick on me, man?
Did you kill it?
Yeah, I killed it. Yeah, that was,
Some poor patients in the hospital, and that was something else. And then you're out there giving them Lyme's disease because you didn't kill the deer tick.
God.
Yeah, as far as like the fresh earth wafers in your clothes and stuff, that's actually, I know this is a topic Chris and I got into years ago on the show. We had talked about, cover scent and that. And this is a hot topic, isn't it? Like, should you use like ozone? Do you believe in the sprays? Do you believe in the clothing? Do you believe in smoking your clothes, like in a campfire and that? My thought on this is there's absolutely no way you can 100% beat a whitetail's nose. And I think that's the consensus. And I think the consensus would also be that you play the wind. Mm-hmm. However, there are times where you hunt. I mean, it would be great. Like, sure, you hunt the wind if you're working a field edge where you have the predominant wind in your face. But there's times where in spots where it doesn't work that way.
Right.
Where the winds shift on you
Swirling.
middle of the day, or they swirl because you're on in a valley or you're on a ridge. There's a lot of different things, and I experience that a ton on our leases for sure. I mean, all the hills and valleys and ridges and stuff, they aren't huge. We're not talking, Mississippi River Valley, Buffalo County and that, but still plenty where you have these valleys and ridges and kettles and
the swamp.
And a swamp and that. And the winds are very, very unpredictable and that. I mean, I go through milkweed like crazy.
Just trying to sort it out.
Always checking. Yeah. I'm always, what I'll do is I will take a bunch of it and put it, like rub it on my clothing and that. So it kind of sticks. So I'm not having to constantly, I keep it like in a pill bottle.
Okay.
And I stuff it in there. So I'm not constantly reaching my pocket. I can just pull it off my clothing and just drop a little bit.
So what do you, I guess not to totally shift gears here, because I'm not. I mean, we're still staying on the winds, but what do you do if you're, your morning hunt, your morning sit, you got the wind figured out, this is a stand I'm sitting in, and before it's even lunch, right? Or it could be maybe an hour in.
So like, are you saying like on an all-day sit kind of a deal?
Yeah. It's going to be an all-dayer, and you're dialed in, and boom, the wind shifts. What do you do?
I'm typically moving. I'm getting out.
And then
I'm texting Mike or whatever, and I'm flipping out. I'm getting upset. And
is time playing into that though too, because of
the
patterns of the deer?
Well,
and
what time of the day is? All of a sudden the wind shifts, and it's like it's go time. Like it's that last magic hour of the day.
I mean, that probably the end of the day you're not moving,
and I'm in panic mode, really, honestly, at that point,
because you there's a number of reasons
because it's like
that panic.
I could get busted now trying to get out of this stand.
Exactly.
And it's too late now to move somewhere else. So it's one of those things. So that's a you bring up a really good point, and this goes right back to, cover scent and all these different things. I feel like there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing anything and everything within your power or what you feel is reasonable to be scent free. Again, you're going to get these guys that are going to comment on these sort of forums and in these conversations that's like, it doesn't matter. It's all about wind. Well, winds change and things happen, like we just said. So, the scorpions always throwing me off there. If you want to spray your clothes down, you want to use like a nose jammer or something like that. You're showering, scent free. All those things are going to help to an extent. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
right.
It's not foolproof, but anything you can do, I feel like, is going to be advantageous, for yourself out there. Why would you not want to try to be as scent free as possible? I go out there in an old flannel and blue jeans and that. Yeah, if the wind is in your face
in your favor,
the whole time in that, and you don't expect any deer to come up from behind you, you're fine.
That's the other thing.
Yeah, because they never come up from behind
Never.
you. No, they always, they just stick to this trail, and they're always right here.
And they're always broadside, and they're always 40 yards.
Give me a break.
40 yards are in. I know when I was younger, I felt like you were always trying different things, different
experimenting.
Products, right, experimenting. And you would always be like, Drew, you got to sorry, let's be truthful. Andy, you got to try this. You got to try this. And I'd be like, what difference does it make? I'm going to be in the stand smoking a cigarette, reeking of booze from the night before. And
you're talking gun hunting.
Right, we're talking gun hunting, right? Yeah. And, I'd get a deer and I don't know if it really matters. I mean, this guy here, I literally just put a cigarette out, and he came out broadside 20 yards. Come to find out.
But he's also not a 180-inch buck, though.
Either, no. No, not by any means. He was old, and he was big, and I'm very proud of him. But the point I'm trying to make is, as I got older and slightly wiser, I'd say a lot wiser, but my wife is probably watching, and she'd be very quick to disagree with that. That wasn't a joke. I don't know why you did that. I come to realize a lot of it, it was pure luck, that I was just getting lucky and stumbling upon deer and the ones that I did manage to shoot. You know what I mean?
Right.
To where now, over the last several years, really focusing on scent control, not smoking,
wind direction,
but all those kinds of things, and actually seeing deer get in a lot closer, making it a lot easier, and really working in my favor. Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about that.
Yeah, when it comes to archery and that like that, the margin of error, it's just not there.
It's not even not just small. There is no margin.
Yeah. I mean, anything can happen, and you can get lucky and things like that. But I think whatever you want to do in terms of scent control and that's a personal preference. Obviously, playing in the wind is first and foremost. That should be number one. But again, you're talking about hunting in areas where winds swirl and things like that. And,
right.
Thermals are rising, thermals are dropping. That all plays a big part in your success, I think. So for me, my scent control is obviously showering, scent-free deodorant. Obviously I'm not going to put some Old Spice on. You know what I mean?
Well, I would recommend Brute.
Or Brute.
Because it has some sage in it, I think.
That's a lot of sagebrush here in the Midwest. And then clothing, again, that's personal. I use stuff that's carbon-based and, silver alloy that going to help a little bit. I mean, how much? I don't really know.
Anything is that's going to tilt the scale in your favor.
I spray my boots off. I don't spray my clothing off, but I spray my boots and that. I will run ozone and that with my clothing and that. So like in the bunkhouse or whatever, I'll hang my clothes up, Mike and I, and then we'll run an ozone thing in the bathroom. We have a clothes rack that we just put in there. Run that for half hour, 45 minutes or so. And that's about it. And then it's playing the wind. I know hunters like to use the ozonic systems and stuff out in the woods. And there's a lot of different thoughts on that too. I just read something, I don't know what it was on, and not that I would call it out, but I was kind of just reading through the comments and the amount of people like, well, ozone has a smell too, and that's not natural. I'm like, no. Ozone is it is 100% natural.
100% natural.
It is. Now, is it natural for it to be out for a deer to smell ozone on a bluebird sky day on a high pressure system?
Sure.
I don't know if they could differentiate that. I mean, they know the smell of ozone because it happens after thunderstorms and that.
Yep.
I was just so surprised all these people saying, ozone has an odor to it. It's not natural.
You know what?
Well, you need to get outdoors a little bit more because there's all sorts of times I'm out.
Nothing surprises
walking and
me
hiking
anymore,
and
the
I
way people comment.
Right. And I'm like, I get these big wafts of ozone smell.
Yeah.
And it's not because somebody's hunting nearby using an ozonic system either.
Right.
I guess back to Jesse's thing. I used to use those earth wafer things too.
Yep.
I haven't in many, many years.
I know it used to piss Dad off.
I know when I used to store, and with all the, jeez, I can't wear this. This smells terrible. Like it smells like dirt.
Good. That's the idea. Yeah.
A lot of hunters have had success with cover scents, anything from like the vanilla nose jammer. Mm-hmm. Some guys, or I keep saying guys. I'm sorry. I'm using that as a generalization here, not that it's only guys hunting. I'm sorry. I apologize to any of the ladies out there.
I call my daughter bro on occasion. So
right. My son calls my wife bro. My 6-year-old bro. Skunk scent.
No way.
Oh yeah.
No.
Some guys smoke weed in that out in their stands and that, and they swear by it.
I can get down with that.
As a good cover scent. I can't ever picture myself being able to.
You already know
to do that in the stand, and
I would not be able to function
no
whatsoever.
No, but I know there's hunters out there that do. Some do. To each their own.
To each their own.
Just be safe out there.
Always.
So I think Dad
used to smoke weed.
No, Dad used to use like skunk cover scent when he used to bow hunt back in the day. And in fact, I remember, I think it was on Thanksgiving, he had to stop. We were at Grandma and Grandpa's. You were probably too young to remember this or whatever. And I asked Mom where Dad was. And he's running late. He had to go home and shower. He spilt his raccoon urine or something like that all over himself or whatever. I don't know, something along those lines. But yeah, Luke, you got something?
Yeah. Question off the talk and text line. What do you think about farmers hanging clothes in the barn?
I mean, if you're hunting in that area and it's gonna smell like everything else in that area, right?
Maybe, don't hang it over your tractor or something, or have it smell like two-stroke,
or diesel,
right? But I think that's a great idea. I truly do. I mean, why, if it's gonna come out smelling like hay, and you're hunting a hay field, that's brilliant. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't you?
Right. I'm going back to this article or this post I had seen or whatever in some of the comments. Some guys will just grab a branch off of a pine tree, like a white pine or whatever, and just rub that all over themselves. You know what? Why not? You know,
It's
if
there.
if it helps cover your scent. Now, again, I think we're simplifying things here a little bit and not really taking in consideration just how amazing the whitetail's olfactory system is.
Oh,
And it's not just about covering up. I mean, yes, you might be able to fool deer to an extent or kind of maybe diminish human scent, but their olfactory system is so powerful and so I'm trying to think of the word here I want to go with. It's so powerful and so great that they can not just smell this and that, they can break down each. So let's look at it as making a pizza, right?
mm-hmm.
So when we smell pizza, we smell the whole thing.
Yep.
And that they can smell every ingredient.
Okay.
Every ingredient in the dough. They can break it down to that. You know what I mean?
Right.
We smell dough. We smell fresh baked bread. While a deer, we can break down every single ingredient in there.
Yeah. Okay.
If you think about it in terms of like that, it's not just like, well, I smell cheese. Oh, now I smell some pepperoni. I smell onions.
You smell.
They
freaking
break it all
pizza, is what
down.
you
So,
smell.
right. No, you're just smelling pizza. I
Right.
mean, and you're like, oh, that might be a pepperoni pizza.
Yeah.
That's how a deer is going to break this down and how they can smell. And so they're going to smell that wafer. They're going to, whether it's earth or pine, or they're going to smell both those. And then on top of it, they're still going to smell you.
Sure.
And that is, again, goes back to playing the wind. But if there's things that you can do to reduce your scent, deer know what humans smell like, and they're used to smelling humans.
What? It's pretty
Unless you
natural.
are hunting in a remote area where these deer come into very little to no contact
Right.
with human beings ever. I mean, you think about hunting on public land, you know, in state forests and things like that, where you have hikers all year round hiking in that. They're used to that smell. So even where we hunt, there's other properties around us.
Yep.
There's homes. There's people with wood burning stoves. There's people having campfires. There's people walking around. There's people on ATVs. So they're used to it. Do they does it alert them to an extent?
Right. How much?
Absolutely.
Does it affect them? Right.
But again, if you hunt somewhere where you're just thousands and thousands of acres and hardly ever nary a human
Right.
enters this part of this land that these deer are in, where this all of a sudden really alerts them because it's so foreign to them. I mean, look at in town. My gosh. I mean, city deer are so tame and kind of throw caution to the wind. I mean, when I'm walking at night, 10, 11 o'clock at night, I run into the city deer all the time.
Oh yeah.
And I can get pretty darn close, and they might just trot off to the other side of the street and just look at me and let me just keep rolling. You think that they're freaked out by the smell of humans all the time?
I live right across from a park. Well,
Right.
I'm not explaining this to you. I'm explaining it to them. But I live right across from a park, and we get deer that will, be out in that park in the middle of the night, and I just get the biggest kick of going out onto my deck and grunting at them, and having them bob their head at me, and I bob back, and we'll just do that.
And they're cracking up too at you.
Right. Look at this idiot. So is my neighbor. But anyhow, he does that on a regular basis too. Well, another thing I want to getting back to rituals, and I want to touch on some of the fun, right? Because I think as hunters, right, we always, it's always sometimes we lose sight of the fun just a little bit. Mm-hmm. Right? We take it so serious, and we're so focused, and we're so dialed in, and we want to, to no fault at all. But what are some of like the fun rituals, right? Like, every time we go up, we got to stop at this gas station. I got to get this snack, or I got to do this, or, touch on that a little bit. Because I already know, like when we were young,
Right.
It was we got to Portage. We stopped at the Mobile right by 94. I mean, that was a given.
Yeah.
To the point where when that gas station closed, it was kind of depressing. It was like, oh man, that was years. That's where we would stop.
All right, I'll get to that in a second. I'm just going to back up real quick to what you said there about sometimes we take it too serious. Sure, to an extent, I think that's true. But there are a lot of hunters out there that take it serious, and that's like so serious, and that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
It is their passion. It is their, I mean, I think for most of us, hunting is a passion of ours in that. There are some guys that take it to the next level, and I don't see anything wrong with that.
And
you know what I mean? Like, I
don't want to misconstrue what I'm saying. I mean, there's definitely nothing wrong with that. What you are doing is healthy.
Right.
It's appropriate and needed, right? As conservationists, it is a very necessary thing of what we do in order to maintain a healthy balance.
Yeah, and I think the seriousness comes from these guys who are passionate about killing big bucks and that.
And that's
fine.
I
think that's great, because if that's your enjoyment in it,
as long as the enjoyment is there,
that it's not.
Make it enjoyable.
If hunting is a chore, well, then
you're doing it for all the wrong reasons.
But if your passion is that stress level and that drive that you have to be successful as a big buck killer, that's great.
For some, it is a chore, and rightfully so. And those are the people.
If you're making a career out of it,
I guarantee. Well, not even those folks. Okay. It's somebody. That is not going to ever watch this show because they are living off the grid, and that is their source of food.
Sure, yeah, that's a whole nother story altogether.
Right. But so I mean, there are very different levels of dedication to hunting. You have the casual hunter, right, that enjoys it for the camaraderie. And that could be that. There's nothing wrong with that.
And now I think you're getting more into the gun hunting side of things. There,
right. I mean, you're not a casual bow hunter. If you're bow hunting,
I think if you're into archery, hunting, you're fairly serious about it.
You would have to be.
Because it is next level. It's about bringing those deer in really close, or getting close to the deer.
Right.
You're not shooting deer at 100, some 100 yards away or whatever. It is a completely different ball game. So, but I don't want to go too deep into all that there. But in terms of, like you said, a tradition or
just whether it's tradition or almost to the point where, man, if I don't do this.
So ritual. So like you said, like a ritual.
Yeah, I'm not going to get this buck this year.
I don't think I have anything like that.
You don't
honestly.
have anything like
that. I mean,
I'd love to hear from our viewers. Is there something that you have to do before you go out in order to consider yourself successful? Or
I'm sure I probably,
that...
I'm sure I probably do, but nothing's coming to mind. I noticed here we got a comment from Chris Damali, former host of the show. He said about the campfire smoke, and that's what I was talking.
Chris, just keeping the seat warm for you, bud. Whenever you come back.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming back. And like I had mentioned there before with the campfire smoke, that was one of the things that was also in this forum about these guys that intentionally smoke out their hunting clothes.
Right.
Again, I think if you hunt in an area where you are used to the smell of campfire smoke, it might be beneficial. I don't know.
Wasn't that what Native Americans used to do?
Yeah, right. And they did the sweat lodges to purify their, kind of get all the stink in that out. Us, what are we doing? We're eating beef jerky and venison sticks and
one of the
venison
rituals,
jerky,
right?
Pickled eggs and.
I gotta get some of those donut holes from the quickery.
Right. Yeah. Some dunkers and the amount of crap some of us eat before, on these hunting trips.
Or during it.
Or during, right? Or taking out in the woods,
Right.
you know, taking out some smelly venison jerky that just you open it up
Like,
and you
how
open up
insulting
this,
is that to the deer?
right?
I'm eating your brother. All right, come here.
You're
let
just
me
bringing
shoot
them back, taking them back to the woods. It's like a little memorial service for them.
you. We're gonna eat you. Anyhow,
Yeah, I don't know. We really got on a big tangent there about the scent.
That'll
and stuff.
happen.
So, you know what we're gonna do here, real quick, guys? I know everybody's kind of waiting. We're gonna do the Buckstik giveaway here very quickly. Here, that'll be right after we come back from a break and a word from our other partners.
that's right.
So we'll see you back in 5 minutes. We're back. I don't know what that beeping sound was. I don't know if I ever
It's
heard
a
that
timer.
before. Was that the timer? It
It's
has
a
beep.
timer. Yeah, it's got a little beepy beep on.
That's weird.
It's fun.
That's fun.
Fun.
Good stuff.
Welcome back to our second segment of the giveaway show.
Yeah, everybody's waiting for the giveaway.
That's right.
So before our little intermission here, we were talking about scent and scent control and stuff like that. Bob Zarda, I saw, had a comment there. Bear season's about to start, and we haven't even brought that up at all. So I'd love to hear from any of you that are going to be heading out bear hunting in the next week or so here. Let us know where you're going and just how excited you are. And, you know, for me, I've never been a big bear guy. I put my points in and then I donate them to different organizations like Hunt of a Lifetime and things like that. But I know like there's a lot of people that are super stoked. I know several hunters personally. Adam is getting fired up here. He's heading up to go bear hunting. So good luck to all of you bear hunters.
Absolutely.
Love to hear from you and for you to share your pictures and stuff like that on our community page. So
Yeah, please do. Love to see him.
but for the rest of us, yeah, we're getting fired up for deer hunting season, for archery season here in Wisconsin, and here throughout the upper Midwest. Illinois starts on October 1st. I'm still contemplating a hunt in Illinois myself
Okay.
with Jason Schrader
Oh,
from the team here.
good old Jay.
Yeah, in fact, he was hoping to be here tonight.
Yes.
He had his work was running a little bit late, and it's quite a haul for him to get up here.
Right. Yep.
So, Jason, I'll be in touch with you here within the next week to let you know if I'm going for sure. I want to make it happen. What the toughest pill to swallow when you go to hunt in Illinois is that tag price, that $500 out of state non-resident, and that
come up here and
right.
pay a lot less.
A lot less.
We're not.
And have a lot more opportunities, a lot more public land.
We're not
and things
butthurt
like
about
that,
it at all, though. No.
none whatsoever. We love you guys down in Illinois. Oh my!
Where were you on that one, producer?
Comment here. Tucker Kraft says, I'm going bear hunting a little bit later this year.
Tucker Kraft, the Green Bay Packers backup tight end 2, as it were. Hey, Tucker, big fan.
Chicago Bears.
Don't do that. We're not going to go down that road right
Yeah,
now.
why? Why do you
Why
gotta do
would you
that?
even say that? Caleb Williams.
Oh,
Anyhow, let's stop it. Yeah, that kind of bear hunting, sure. Let's shift gears here.
yeah. I think we'll go ahead and let's give this Buckstik away here.
Let's do it.
What we're gonna do here is we're actually gonna draw 3 names.
3 names.
Yeah, we're gonna draw 3 names. We're gonna draw the first name we're gonna draw is going to actually win the Buckstik here.
Okay.
And
That's
the
the
Buckstik,
big winner.
that's the big winner. You get the Buckstik, the whole communication system with the 3 pure glands. If you guys stuck around through the intermission, you can see just how effective the Buckstik is. We've talked about it multiple times
It's legit.
on the show. Buckstik uses 100% pure deer gland. They
It's
use
not
it-
synthetic.
Not synthetic. It's interdigital, it's preorbital, and it's the forehead glands. Whitetail deer have multiple other glands, but these are the 3 main glands that whitetails use for communication, and you're going to get that with the kit here. That's all part of the whole thing. So, Luke, why don't you go ahead? Bring up the spin the wheel. Now, don't spin it just yet because We're going to draw 2 other names as well. And we're going to give a hat away to number 2, the second spin. And then we'll, why don't we do a T-shirt?
Yeah, I think we should do
number
a T-shirt.
3.
Maybe we can throw some decals in there or something.
Yeah. There might be maybe some koozies or something like that. We'll throw in on the mix here for you guys. So we appreciate you guys.
Autograph. I mean, that would probably lessen the value.
I think it would probably be a good idea if we didn't do that.
No autographs. Unless you request it. If you want it.
Right. When I message you, when I message the winner, feel free to say, I'd really like to get Luke Horton of the Boosters autograph.
All right, let's
go. Here we go.
Let's go ahead and
spin that wheel. Good luck, everyone. You have the number.
Nice pick.
We got Tom Girock. I think I said that right. Tom Girock.
I'm Girock. Congratulations, Tom.
Congratulations. You are going to enjoy this fine Buckstik and all of the if you don't enjoy it.
Now, what? Here's another part of this whole thing that I didn't mention. I expect when this is out there to get some messages with pictures or videos of just how well this Buckstik is working for you.
Please do.
Please send them to us. Tom, I will be in contact with you. I will find you through Messenger and get your contact information, address and that so that we can get this shipped out for you. So congratulations, Tom Girock. But we have 2 more spins here. Let's go ahead with number 2 for the hat.
Donnie Ball.
All right, Donnie Ball.
Donnie Ball, come on down and get your ride. Almost send it.
Well, you can come if you want.
That would save us.
Congratulations, Donnie Ball.
Yes, sir.
I will send you out a message and get your information as well and get that shipped out to you. And we have one more, and this is for a T-shirt.
Give it a spin. It's killing me.
It's not really.
No, it really is.
Number
4, we got Stephen Ray.
Stephen Ray. All right.
Congratulations, buddy. You got yourselves a fine T-shirt.
I will also get your information from you. So keep your eyes open for those messages from
Hopefully
either
you don't have your
myself
spam
or
filter
through.
on.
Yeah, right. Exactly. One way or the other, I'll keep trying to get a hold of you guys, or you can go ahead and message me
Directly
or through the Midwest or
however you want to do it. But we'll be in touch, and we're going to get your information. And
get it sent out.
Tom, you won a Buckstik. Donnie, you got the hat. And I literally just said that. Stephen Ray
gets the T-shirt.
Gets the T-shirt. Congratulations, everyone, and thank you so much for following us and liking and commenting, all that kind of. I mean, we truly appreciate it. This is why we do it. It's just something that we enjoy doing, and we're going to continue to bring you some fantastic content. I mean, this is the half-ass show, as it were.
Slightly slanted.
A slightly slanted show. I like that better.
Yeah.
Everyone use half-ass.
Right. We're slightly
We're
slanted.
the slightly slanted show, not like that.
Not like that at all. I don't know. What do you want to wrap up with here, Drew? I mean, we're just getting amped up for the season. It's right around the corner for a lot of us, and
I think the prep has been put in right at this point. If you haven't prepped now, you might be in a world of hurt. I don't know.
I don't know. It depends. There's a lot of public land hunters and stuff that,
right. Sure.
There's not a lot of prep other than scouting.
Yeah,
and
that's about it.
I mean, even for me, like when it comes to hunting on public land, which I don't do as nearly as much as I used to, but I still like to dabble in it here and there. My preferred time is in the spring. I don't really like getting in there in the summertime when it's hot and humid and mosquito-y and that. I will, obviously, especially on our own properties. There's plenty of work to be done out there all the time. But
how does that differ? Not just how does scouting in spring differ from summer scouting?
I think it does. I mean, I think it does and it doesn't. You're able before all the foliage comes back on the bushes and trees and things like that. You're able to find
early spring for sure,
right?
Not late spring,
right? Okay. Early spring. You're able to kind of figure out. But I think bedding areas change though too.
Oh, I would agree.
It gives you some information, but it doesn't give you the whole scope. I think there's something to be said about scouting all year round. Mm-hmm. And that, me personally, I don't really like doing a lot of summer scouting, but I also like to scout as I'm hunting.
Right.
Okay. If you're going to hunt mobile and that, I think you're scouting as you go as well. Mm-hmm. You're always looking for sign. You're reading maps. You're doing the various different things that are going to kind of put you in, point you in that direction of where the bucks are moving, where does are bedding. Doe bedding areas, because I think especially I feel like I can notice a difference between winter bedding, spring bedding, and summer bedding in the doe areas and that. Bucks are somewhat more predictable, but I think as you get closer to the rut, that changes vastly though too.
Okay.
Based on the doe bedding areas.
The doe bedding, right? Yeah, for the rut. Yeah. No, I mean, that absolutely makes sense. Is there anything else that what's one piece of advice that you could give? No, I mean seriously, as somebody that they could be young, they could be old, they want to get into archery. Mm-hmm. What do you recommend that they do? Just from the out of the gate,
if you're getting into archery,
number one thing that you got to do if you want to go.
Practice.
And we're talking just
shooting your bow constantly. Join a non-competitive 3D archery league, join a hunter's league kind of thing, or join whatever league you want to do, but don't take it serious other than using it as practice.
When you're saying don't take it serious, don't beat yourself up.
Right. Like you said, if you want to join a league, join it for the practice purposes, not the necessarily the competition part of it. I mean, if you're a competitive person, that's great or whatever. But the reason why I got into 3D archery shooting, and that was just to become a better hunter. Mm-hmm. So there's leagues that are very competitive, and then there's like hunter type leagues. And even the leagues that I was in that were hunter leagues, you weren't allowed to range find. You could use binoculars, but you weren't able to
use an actual
range finder to know the distance and that. And I think that helps immensely in determining range, because let's face it, we all carry range finders, but you can't always pull up your range finder. Sure. You don't always have that ability to do it. So my one piece of advice would be practice. Number two piece of advice would be get used to shooting without a rangefinder.
Yeah, right.
If you can use it, that's great.
Sure.
But if you can get to that point where you can predict distances within a couple yards, 1 or 2 yards, I think that helps out
immensely.
So much, because that was one of my biggest concerns when I got into archery hunting, was knowing distances. Oh, and now it's always a game for me. I will look at a tree, I will look at a stump, I will look at a branch and that, and I will pick it out before like in my head what I think it is. And I'm usually within a yard or two on most things.
That doesn't surprise me with at all in terms of you.
And then that's what's in my head all day long.
Yeah.
When I'm in that spot is I'm like, this spot, and then you're splitting the difference between this tree and that tree, or this tree and that stump, and this tree and that bush, or, all the different things.
And that sounds really easy in theory, right? But until you get up into a tree stand, and until you're looking at that, and you're looking at it, oh yeah, that's 40 yards, no problem. Get back out of your tree stand and walk it.
Right.
Guarantee you're wrong.
Right.
I mean, and obviously, if you've been doing it for a while, you have the experience. But if you're new to it, I promise you, you will be wrong.
And then use that rangefinder again and again and again, and just double check and recheck and triple check and quadruple check.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm very, very particular about that.
Well,
and I would think that. So again, number one would be practice. Learn that muscle memory. Get used to shooting in different positions, different heights. Shoot from a tree stand if you can. Shoot from an elevated platform if you can. And then two is train yourself to be able to estimate distances very accurately.
I don't know if I should go down this road, but I'm 3 bourbons in, and I don't really care at this juncture, so I'm going to go down.
It is Thursday.
Do you think? Hold on, got to do a wrap around to that. Wrap around. Cheers, everybody. Oh, it's so good when it hits the lips. Anyhow, in terms of bow hunting or archery, however you want to word it, to gun hunting, do you think that there, I don't know if I want to use that word. Oh, I'm going to use it because, again, 3 bourbons in. Do you think that there is a large difference in ethical hunting between archery and gun? Let me expunge on that. Somebody that's willing to take a pop shot with a 30-30 on something that might not be able to touch, right, on a deer just because whatever the case may be, versus, right, your archery hunting, you've spent so much time dialing this in, and you also, I mean, let's be honest, you have to get the right shot on that deer for a number of reasons, right, in order to make sure that it's a good kill, that you can track it, that you can retrieve that animal. I think that we all owe it to that animal to do everything that we can to retrieve it. And I feel I just, myself personally, I'm more of a gun hunter. Obviously, I've come across it early on and I've come across it late where you end up taking shots that maybe you shouldn't throughout life, or you've heard stories of someone taking a shot that maybe they shouldn't have. You know what I'm getting at? Does that make sense? Do you think that there is, when you become an archery hunter and you're very serious about it, do you view that hunt differently then at that point? Do you have like that sense of responsibility to that animal?
I don't think it changes per se between an archery hunter and a gun hunter. I think you have to be far more conscientious about your shot in archery than you do with gun. I think there's the margin of error changes between the two.
I would think grotesquely,
right,
in that matter.
Archery, you have to be very, very precise. I think you can get away with a little bit more with gun hunting. I mean, you're not talking about an arrow getting stuck on the opposite shoulder on a quartering away shot,
right?
Which is still going to be a lethal kill, but it's all about the recovery too. Whereas with a bullet, obviously, depending upon the range in that, actually, honestly, regardless of range, you're going right straight through that animal. I don't know. I think at the end of the day, I think you need to be accurate and responsible with all your shots and that. We've all, especially, well, I would say in both aspects, in both archery and with gun, we've all seen plenty of bad shots. The stories. It used to be the stories. You'd hear stories from other hunters and that, like,
Right.
a deer with its lower jaw blown off or something like that, because of deer drives and things like that.
Right. And I guess that's kind of what I'm getting to. I mean,
You're not just popping shots off.
right.
It's
Exactly.
you get 99.9% of the time you have one shot with an arrow or a bolt.
Right.
With a
An arrow or a
crossbow.
bolt. Yep.
So probably actually with a crossbow, you really honestly only get one shot.
Yeah,
I mean,
one.
it's very difficult up in a tree stand to try to
It's not gonna. I mean,
it's
not gonna happen.
cock a crossbow and get another
Right.
bolt in or whatever. I hate that term bolt. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's an arrow. It's just slightly shorter. Like,
Do you feel a difference? You doing both, like a sense of relief when you get the gun, because you've either have already taken out the deer that you wanted archery, and you're like, all right, well now I can just gun hunt for meat.
oh yeah,
Or B, because that I don't have to be as quiet, or how do I say this? You
the
don't have
margin
to
of
be
error.
right. The margin of error is greater when you're gun hunting, right?
Yeah.
So is there like a sense of relief then?
Sure.
knowing that
After
you can
after you've
relax?
been, I think so. I think it is for sure. Especially if you've been able to get your archery buck taken care of,
What if you didn't?
before then.
What if you did?
Yeah, then it changes a little bit, because now you might have that encounter with that buck you've been after, and that with the gun, and now there's that also a little bit of pressure taken off because I don't need that buck within 30, 35 yards.
Right.
It can be 80 yards away.
That would be great.
And different people's properties are different, and ranges and all that vary greatly. Some guys shooting 150, 200 yards, where we hunt, like that's not the case. If very seldom are you ever going to even get 100-yard shot with the rifle. Depending, there are a few spots here and there, whatever. But we hunt very similar with rifle season during rifle season as we do archery season. But you can close that distance per se. You know what I mean, or open that maybe I should say it that way.
Rather.
Open that
Sure.
that up. So yeah, I mean, it's a little more comfortable and but there's just something to be said about archery and having them close, shooting them at 20 yards, 25, 30, 35 yards. Sometimes even closer, right underneath you. Like being that, knowing that you did everything right to get them to that point. I think there's really something to be said about that. And that doesn't take anything away from gun hunters or whatever, because like you said,
that's.
but I do
leading
know
in-
that, like, when I do go out in the woods with a rifle, in that, I'm like far more chill and that and
not to say that you enjoy.
I don't throw
it,
caution to the
because
wind.
you enjoy
but-
the difficulty of
Right.
an archery hunt.
right.
Yeah, and I think that's this. You almost touched on it, and this is the last hard hitting question, and then we'll let you guys go about your night. Maybe not, probably not.
Yeah,
But
we will.
this is a hard hitter. As an archery hunter, and you first got your start through gun, right? But then you took it to the next level, as it were, and started archery hunting. Do you have a different point of view of deer hunters that solely gun hunt? So you view it as equal. There's no.
Well,
you almost have to have a different.
I mean,
I
yeah, okay. I guess to an extent, like, I mean, I think it's hard to not deny, show a little bit more respect to the archery hunter. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it makes in terms of like, it makes no difference to me. I don't care.
Do you think that that's kind of stigma throughout the community?
Oh, absolutely. My God, it's hard. It's so, because now we can go down a whole nother rabbit hole, and I really don't want to go down it, but I'm just going to say it that like, the compound hunter is going to talk down about the crossbow hunter, and the longbow or traditional hunter is going to, feel a different way about somebody that, so like you said, yeah. I mean, when I see guys like Brad Wawinski, killing deer with a traditional bow, like that's awesome. There's a lot of guys, like I give nothing but props.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't expect him to feel looked down on somebody doing it differently, because he also uses a compound as well.
Sure.
Like I don't. At the end of the day, I don't care what people use. If you're only a gun hunter, that's great. If you shot a giant buck at 200 yards versus somebody shooting a giant buck at 20 yards with a bow, yeah, I think there's a difference.
So.
There's a difference for sure. Like that archery hunter. Now, great, a 200-yard shot. Holy cow, like that's amazing. I don't know how accurate I am at 200 yards with a rifle. I don't know if I could get that done,
right.
Necessarily in every case. But let's say, you shoot at 100 yards versus the guy who shot at 20 yards with a bow. Yeah, there is a difference. But it's not stuff I think about, really. I mean, the only time I ever think about it is when you read comments and stuff on social media. And my only thought about it is like, why do we care? Like, why do we care so much?
Right.
Why?
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. Like, who cares?
It does not matter. You're hunting the way that you're hunting.
If you care that much, then you're hunting for the wrong reasons.
Exactly.
It should be for you and you alone. In that, when you start caring about what other people are doing and with that, as long as it's legal,
right?
It's just stupid and silly.
But you've seen the divide.
Oh God,
yeah. I mean, I think
it's ridiculously awful.
There's a divide, anything from fixed broadheads to mechanical broadheads.
Right.
There's
less and less of that. I think
right. I just think that
people need something to bitch about.
Well, that's the thing, right? And I think that one thing is for certain, that we should all be on the same page, is that we're all.
Hunters.
We're all hunters at the end of the day. Outdoorsmen. We're always outdoors, right? And that's what makes it great. And don't lose sight of that. However it is that you get it done, whether it's through archery, maybe this show is just getting you excited for gun hunting. Whatever the case may be, you do you. Be excited for yourself and be excited for the fellow hunter.
Right. Exactly. So whatever you guys do, just make sure you're enjoying yourselves, and
if you get a spiker, awesome, bud.
Right.
That's great. And if you get a 150, great. Whatever the case may be, hunt for yourself, hunt for your family,
yeah,
and hunt for the enjoyment of it all.
Stop worrying about what everybody else is doing.
That's all that matters.
I mean, I'm telling you, like, there's so many people out there that their lives would be so much happier if they just focused on themselves and their own happiness and stopped caring about what everybody else thought. I mean,
Guaranteed.
1,000%. Do you. So, with that said, guys, I want to thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Midwest Racks and Rods Outdoor Show.
We would like to. I want to thank you too.
He wants to.
Yeah.
Luke, you want
Thank
to?
you. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Luke and girls, everybody.
We're all thankful.
We're thankful. So, with that said, we thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Midwest Racks and Rods Outdoor Show. And until next time, always outdoors.